Hello, yes. Thank you for coming. This video is going to be on the Veterans Day outbreak, also known as the tornado outbreak of November 9th to November 11th of 2002. As is tradition, starting with the event overview, there was a total of 83 separate confirmed tornadoes over a course of 36 hours. This does make it one of the much more longer outbreaks in history. There are a total of 9 intense, meaning F3 plus tornadoes, that occurred. This event would injure 240 people, inflict over $160 million in damage, and tragically kill 36. At least 17 states were hit by one tornado, and 5 states had killer tornadoes. There are going to be 4 notables with this outbreak. All of the paths along with the strongest tornadoes they produced, paths specifically of mesocyclones, are seen here. Notice how long-lived many of them are. And just south of that, you can see where these 3 outbreaks are on weather radar, not just geographically. All of these storm reports that occurred on, what is this? I believe that this is the 10th, this is the 10th of November, are seen here, all the way from Alabama to Ohio. You can see a very high convective outlook for that, practically that exact same spot on the 10th as well. Of course, we start with our first notable. Number 1 is the first number on the list of numbers, not including negatives and also not including 0. This is the Tiffin to Fireside, Ohio, F3. This tornado did kill 1 person and injure 2. For the case of notables, this is a relatively shorter course of 33.6 kilometers. However, compared to your average tornado, this is actually a very long course, relatively. This tornado managed to sweep some homes off of foundations and destroyed 32 homes, not all of which were swept off of foundations. So no damage, a total of 80 buildings, not including the 32 homes destroyed, and very oddly for an F3, left cycloidal marks in fields. Personally, with these cycloidal marks combining with sweeping some homes off of foundations, I would, in my mind, I would rate this an F4, possibly, based off of that. But something like cycloidal marks in fields or crops being flattened are not good indicators of tornado damage. Even EF0s do that. The only time where you would probably want to look in fields for a rating would be if there is some severe ground scouring, I would think. And as far as I could research, this tornado did not do that. Notables 2 and technically 3, I'll say, are these 2 right here that are circled in pink. The Saragossa F3 and the Fayette to Arley, Alabama F3. One of these, the Fayette to Arley, directly hit the town of Carbon Hill. The Carbon Hill F3 killed 4 and injured 38, had a pretty damn long track of 70.9 kilometers, so practically 71 kilometers, and had a max width of 1.06 kilometers. We also know that this F3 was a relatively inconsistent F3, being mainly an F2 to even F1 for most of its life. However, some homes were also completely leveled. So, of course, it's going to be most intense when it hits homes. I mean, that's the case for the more F5 and 99. Apart from that, the other tornado that is here is the Saragossa F3 from just around Fayette to, I would say, Coleman, Alabama. This tornado pathed a longer track of 116 kilometers. This is a very long track. And these two seemed to be competing because this parallel F3 killed 7 and injured 45. And pictures of, I want to say that this is Carbon Hill, are pictured on the bottom left and bottom middle. The technical third, I'm just going to say fourth notable, is the Van Wert's F4, as it's most commonly known, but it's the southwest of Van Wert, so Wilshire, to, I'm going to say, Malinta F4. This tornado would kill 4 and injure 17. Had a very long track of 84.5 kilometers. As you can imagine that an F4 does, it destroyed many structures and damaged many more than that. In fact, in the town of Roselms, seen here on this map, there is only one structure left standing. That is most definitely not a good thing, I'll tell you that. As you can see here in these pictures of the tornado itself at the bottom middle and bottom right, this was definitely an intense one. After all, it is an F4 and definitely looks the part. In fact, in fields there is noticeable and distinct cycloidal marks with possible ground scouring, I'm going to imagine. However, it was not noted on Wikipedia if there was any. Down here, this damage photo is from a manufacturing plant. I forget what plant it is, but very large building reduced to just some frames from the roof and a bunch of really big splinters. So what's the event significance here? There's only 4 notables. Well, this thing obviously impacted the South, the Deep South, and Ohio Valley the hardest. In fact, these two areas, Hoosier Alley and Dixie Alley / Carolina Alley, respectively, well, I guess all 3 of those, are the only 2 places on God's green earth where there are 2 separate, distinct tornado seasons. The first one is your classic, I'm going to say March to May, and then your fall season is going to be from November to December. On top of that, this outbreak managed to happen in the fall season. It's November when this outbreak occurred. This outbreak is one of the longest, spatially largest, and most intense outbreaks, specifically in the month of November, but just of all outbreaks. It is most certainly worth noting, though, that lead times were very, very good, even at today's standards. 2002, I mean, almost 2 decades. We're talking that the Van Wert's F4 had 24-minute lead times of this tornado, and that was the first tornado, I want to say, that supercell produced. So that is excellent. Another part is that the 2002 season was actually the slowest tornado season since 1988. It actually became one of the most active because from November 1st to December 15th, the fall season, it became hyperactive. 2002 has probably the most intense fall tornado season of all time. If it's not the most, it is most certainly one of the most intense fall seasons. But this fall season brought 2002 to be one of the most active seasons of all time. Little known fact, however, is that even though the only 2 official super outbreaks occurred in April specifically, 74 and 2011, The fall tornado season has some of the most intense fall outbreaks on record. Specifically, here are all the years that there are notable outbreaks in November: 1926, 1930, 1955, 87, 92, 2001, 2002 happens to be this outbreak here. Also in 2004, 13, 15, 16, and 18. While not that many in December, there are still some of note. In 1 in 57, 3 separate ones in 67, 1 in 71, 2 in 2015, and 1 in 2018 and 2019 were all in December. So please definitely do not rule out fall for tornado outbreaks. They definitely still occur. However, that is all that I have for this outbreak here. Thank you guys so much for coming to another tornado outbreak video. I'll see you guys in the next